NCAA made a major change in January of last year. Ninth graders are considered college prospects, but they decided that they were going to include 7th and 8th graders for basketball, and it won't be long until it'll be 7th and 8th graders for all the other sports as well. But the reason this happened was because, people will find a way to work around the rules. And so what they were doing, they were having camps and leagues for the 7th and 8th graders, and this was uncontrolled by the NCAA, and so they were already promising 7th and 8th graders scholarships without anybody even knowing it. In order to level the playing field, that's why the NCAA just said, well, we're going to take control of this, so now 7th and 8th graders are now college prospects. There's what's called, and this is something you need to be familiar with, this is called a contact period. This is a time when coaches can make direct contact with the youngster and or the parents. That is, if they're in the proper grade level for them to do that. Then there's what's called a dead period. No direct contact is allowed anywhere. It's restricted to mail and phone during what's called a dead period. And this is important because there's times, and these dead periods have changed over the years. I'd call in to talk to one of the coaches on the staff, and nobody had talked to me. And I thought, man, that's rude. And so, but I hung in there, and then I find out later, well, it was a dead period. And there's been so many sanctions happen, especially in Division I, in the sports of football and basketball, that a lot of coaches, they're just gun shy. They're just afraid to contact a parent during certain periods. So don't be discouraged. If you have a desire, and there's a scholarship there for a particular school, and it's a dead period, well, call them back. Don't give up. The evaluation period. These are when college coaches are allowed to watch your youngsters in live competition here at Northmont or one of the other locations in person. And they have defined periods when they're allowed to do that and when they're not allowed to do that. That's called an evaluation period. If you're invited for an official visit, NCAA Division I and II, you're only allowed for 5 paid official visits in their senior year only. You can take all the unofficial visits you want. And as I point out later here in our course, I recommend that you do that well before the senior year. Start doing that. National letters of intent or scholarship offer statements. National letters of intent are normally NCAA schools. All the other athletic associations give what's called a scholarship offer statement, and they'll itemize and detail everything that is included in their scholarship. And that's important because it's going to potentially impact how you make a decision whether to accept or decline their offer. And I don't know about you, but the way costs are today, finance is one of the biggest considerations that parents and youngsters have in deciding where they're going to attend college. It has to be. Then there's what's called early and official signing dates. In, I think it's football and basketball, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, it's November. And then the official signing date's normally in February. And depending on the sport, then that can be later on in the spring for more of your spring sports. There are 11 reasons. What I began to consider as I help youngsters and their parents over the years, I wanted to pinpoint why do athletes fail to get scholarships when they're talented, they deserve one, they've got the grades, but they're still turned down, or they're not, worse yet, they go unnoticed. I thought, why does that happen? Well, I pinpointed 11 major reasons why that happens.